All right, let's talk all things Church of God.
Okay.
Let's start with where we met, Lee University. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid, have some Lee conversation.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when all of this? Because you weren't here in the States, you were obviously in Asia during this time, and you're seeing all of the stuff online of Lee's collapse.
Right.
Potentially, and all the things that were happening there.
Yeah, I was expecting to come back, and I thought that there was going to be, just the
ruins,
the Viking hordes at the gate, and I thought there was going to be pagan sacrifices when I got to there in front of Dixon Center, but that wasn't the case. But yeah, that's what I was expecting, because if you read online, that was what was being.
Why was everybody so angry at Lee? Why at its core? Obviously, we know the surrounding, like, hey, I'm mad at this thing, but why at our core? Is it because we give a certain amount to their budget? Is it because we feel like we should have some sort of influence over the governance? What is the reason, do you think everybody was so frustrated? And you had some higher up conversations. You and Dr. Kahn are buddies. So you had some higher up conversations. What was the reason you think everybody was so frustrated?
I mean, I think there was, there was stuff that with the, I guess there was the incident with the, there were some leaders or teachers, professors that were attending affirming churches. So I understand frustration.
I get the moment. Mm-hmm. I get those like particular things that we're upset about. What was the underlining issue? Like, what was actually there? Do you think people just really thought Lee had fallen off the wagon and was turning to this woke culture and this is what it looked like? Do you think that's truly what people thought?
I think that is what people thought. But it's also too, it's when things start to snowball, I think it becomes magnified and bigger than what it really is. And of people commenting and talking, there might have been some that have been privy to what was some things that were going on at Lee, but also, I don't know how many of those people were in classrooms or sat in classrooms, or because I know, I've talked with people in the theology department and people that are teaching classes, like, Dr. Justin Walker, dude, he is phenomenal young scholar, theologian, has an amazing heart. I don't know him well, but I do know him by reputation and have seen him teaching. Like, he's amazing.
And obviously some of the people who are on the Lee board, you and I have relationships with quite a few of them. The chairman of the board was at Lee same time as us, Wade. I mean, there's some high quality people on that Lee board. And obviously Dr. Kahn, we know and love. Dr. Phil Cook now who's taken over. There's just so many high quality people now that are in place making wise decisions for the future of our alma mater.
Yeah, and Dr. Kahn, I mean, like, he lives, eats, breathes Lee. Like, that is his. He loves the university.
What a dude!
Absolutely, like, to me, he's one of the most phenomenal leaders that we have in the denomination. Just an amazing visionary. I had the opportunity to work for him while I was a student at Lee, and just everything about that.
Like, work for him, you mean like work in his?
I was a student assistant while I was in his office. So, basically, I got his bagel and cream cheese every morning.
Sounds about right.
And I plugged in the electric golf cart
there you go.
At night. But he's, to kind of give you an idea, funny story with him. I remember going, just into his office, just asking if there was anything he needed. I was about to leave for the day. And I see him, he's just standing there in his office and just looking, and there's all these carpet samples, like just throughout the floor in his office. I'm just watching, and Dr. Kahn just looks at me. I was like, Dr. Kahn, are you okay? Is there anything I can get you before I head out? And he was like, and this will be my terrible Dr. Kahn impression, but he says, Johnny, what do you think of this carpet color? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I just think it clashes with the hardwoods. And I'm looking at this as a guy with a PhD in psychology, like an incredible thinker, incredible mind, and he's worrying over this detail of for the new became whatever that building was that took over the humanities building. And he's picking out, just worrying over the details of the carpet color and the hardwood. But he was just, because for him it mattered. He wanted it to be excellent, and he wanted this to be. And I know that he kind of thinks in that way of, hey, we deserve to give God our best. Yeah. So even when it was like picking out carpet samples in the humanities building, it was this thing of, all right, we have to be excellent.
Yeah. There's people in my life that I will never forget, and he's one of those people. Like never had a class with him, never had much interaction with him, but just the man that he always was. The man that, he spoke at chapel quite often whenever we were there, and you got the interaction of who he was in those moments, and through the different interactions on the Ped Mall or sporting events or whatever it was. A dude was just like, it felt like Lee was his life.
Yeah. And he's still a huge proponent. And it's kind of, working in the background, but always there. I know that he's available to help in any way possible. Dr. Cook, Phil Cook, and what he's doing at Lee. So I know it's in good hands. Yeah. And
Dr. Conn, we're praying for you.
Yeah.
You're
definitely
praying for you. Phil Cook's video recently was a huge hit. Did you see it?
The
growing up at Lee.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, JC sent it to us. So JC is a mutual friend of ours who's on the Lee board. Sent it to me, and he was like, must watch, huge hit. And it goes through Phil Cook's life at Lee and upbringing. It was like this documentary. It was hilarious. Home run.
I'll
amazing.
Have to watch it. Yeah, I've seen the Uber.
Those are great too. But no, this is great. It's like the Kai guys looking around at him, and they're like, oh, we feel sorry for this guy. We should let him in our club. And then, it goes back to Phil now, and he's like, that's not how it happened, right? And he was like, the guy, whoever's putting the video together, he was like, it's totally how it happened, or whatever. It's really funny, really cool.
It's one of those things with and that's why I know there's people talking about, we need to shut it down or revamp it. And the education system's changing. I understand online learning, all this, but there's just something about when people that are on this journey in life, from this age of 18 to 23, 24, like these are these amazing formation years. Yeah. And I can look back and my closest friends to this day are people that I was at Lee with and met at Lee, and people that I do ministry with and like partnered with, like you and JC, John Paul, Jeremy, like all these guys are still to this day, 25 years later. Still,
it's wild, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's like, I don't know.
We talked about whenever you started and you went to the mission field and you were like, they told you, connect with all of your pastoral friends. And you were like, yeah, all my pastoral friends are broke. Yeah. They can't support me because they can't support themselves right now.
Yeah, they weren't taking salaries from church. So my pastoral friends were delivering milk.
Right.
And like when I went to go visit you, I think I lost money coming that first time. It's like with gas money and all, because it's Myrtle Beach is a long way.
No doubt.
But it was that time to reconnect with a friend, and but it is one of those. Yeah, it's still to this day some of my closest friends, and I think Lee is still that for people. Yep. Like, I can't wait to see this next generation, these people that are here. They're in 20 years they're going to be in these seats, which is awesome. You
still connected to Lee? You still like we were in Upsilon together. You still do anything with them? You still have any conversations with any of those guys?
Yeah, I still I'll from time to time check in on the chat group. But whenever I'm in town, like there's still guys that are in Cleveland. When I go back from the mission field and back in Cleveland, I stay at my parents' house. And there's still guys that are still in Cleveland, so we'll go grab lunch or something like that. But now most of the people that are from that era are out and about.
The last assembly, there was this big Accelerate / YouTube page of this guy who was very anti-Upsilon, who said Upsilon ran the Church of God. They're this secret society cult, and just watch it. Here goes how this is going to happen. We have some very successful Church of God influencers that were a part of our club, but I never saw it as cultish at all, right?
No. If that is, then I guess you could say like Campus Choir is a cult, Lead Singers is a cult. It's a group of friends and shared common interests. You know, it is. No, it's not a cult. That's redonkulous.
Redonkulous,
as they say.
So speaking of assembly, we go excited about it. Can't wait.
I am. I'm not excited about the heat, the humidity.
But we're going to go to Disney one day.
Yeah, I do want to go to Disney one day.
Because you haven't been since you were little, so we're going to go.
All right.
Maddie's got your whole day planned out for you.
In. She's the Disney queen.
She's the Disney queen.
I'll let her handle it.
So you don't have a countdown like Johnny Kilman does, right?
No.
Well, I'm sorry.
We should develop an app for that.
We're inside of double digits, though. Like right now, we're at 98 today.
And he said at the time of this recording, we are 98 days.
98 days
away from
countdown is
assembly.
Assembly, one of the roles inside of our denomination that will be voted on, affects you somewhat. Some form or fashion affects you. Okay. We have a little bit of maybe like a hiccup because of COVID with, maybe not, I can't even remember back at how the hiccup happened or what, to where we kind of have some offsetting, I don't know, I can't even really remember. But now we have Brother M. Thomas Probst that is transitioning out. His time is up. And we have Brother David Ramirez, Dr. Ramirez, who is the assistant that can move to the director's chair.
Right.
Or he doesn't have to. He still has time there as the assistant that he could stay there.
Yeah, and the reason it kind of was offset was because at last assembly, it was, I think Brother Childers kind of decided, you know what, I don't feel like I want to do 2 more years. Just felt like his time in the department was done, which I respect of him saying, you know what, I don't want to. If I don't feel like I can fulfill my duties, then I'm not, and that's super cool that he did that. So that opened. So he
went into the communication department, kind of opened up a role there.
Yeah.
And
so he would have been. We would have voted on the 2 different. So now it's voting on the director position, and then if the assistant moves up, then you put the assistant as well. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're.
It's very interesting. I've heard so many names. Do we want to talk about all the names that we've heard for it? No, just kidding. I've heard so many names for the director and also if Brother Ramirez moves up for the assistant. Heard so many, opportunities and conversations about what that happens. So let's just take all of the names out of it and let's just have a conversation about their role. Do you have, as a missionary on the field, interaction with the M. Thomas Probst of the world? Is that his role, or is his role more the fundraising role as the director and the organizer, and you have the conversations with Brother Ramirez? How does that work on the field?
Yeah, so the way it's structured, unless I have misunderstood it these past 17 years, the director is kind of the general overseer of the Church of God outside of the United States.
Outside of the Church of God.
Yeah, gotcha. Outside of the United States. So he's kind of the greater vision, oversees, the reason.
Interesting.
Fundraising, just kind of pushing forward. This is the agenda.
Interesting.
State of the Union. Like this is.
I've never seen it like that. That is so interesting.
Because honestly, it is. It's. What the general overseer is overseeing all these states. Well, the world missions director is overseeing, India is one of his regions, like the state. So he would be communicating a lot with the overseer of India or South Asia.
Yeah, I was talking with Angel Marcial Jr. whenever he was on the podcast, and he talked about his dad, who is the
field director
of Latin America. Mm-hmm. I think is that exactly right?
I believe he's still the field director of Latin America.
But his role is to oversee all of the churches in Latin America. And I think it's like 13,000 churches.
Yeah.
16,000 churches or something like that. He's like, in Guatemala alone, we have 3,000 Church of God churches.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So to answer your question, like I do have interaction with those people, but it's like, for instance, I was back in the States now. I was in Cleveland, and I happened to see Dr. Probst in the hallway, and was able to say hey, but I don't shoot him an email and say, hey, I need this or that, because I know he's got so much on his plate. Director always has it's all right. Grand vision.
Yeah, director, everything lands in their office, in their inbox,
and the field directors kind of report directly to him, and then the assistant director is doing a lot of the so like missionary care, I think, is under their portfolio. So a lot of times, if I'm needing something directly, I will connect with whoever's in the assistant director seat or his assistant, and they're always good about getting back to her, making getting answers.
When you come into town, is there like an expectation of like, hey, you're in Cleveland, stop by the office and see us?
No, it's not like discouraged. It's not discouraged or anything like that. But and they're always welcoming. But I grew up in Cleveland. I'll go to visit friends or something. But I rarely jump on the in the office and do that. Like if it's to handle something with finances or something like that. So I know the donor relations team and office really well, because there's always accounting stuff you have to figure out, and they are awesome at answering those questions. But
when I give money to you, our church gives money to Johnny Moore. I think I know the answer of this. If the answer is not what I think it is, then let's delete this off the podcast. But what percentage gets to you?
Yeah, so if it's designated to a missionary,
if I say
or a
Johnny
project,
Moore, we're given to this project, I give you $100. What percentage of that $100 gets to you?
So if you give $100 gets to where it's supposed to go, because that's one of the cool things is there is no like overhead, or because from what I understand, like the tithe of tithe and things like that cover like the overhead and operational expenses for world missions. So missionaries, if they do raise funds, it goes to where it's supposed to go. So as long as somebody puts down a project number and it's the right project number, it goes to that project number, and it's kind of automatic.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's
one of the great things about our missions department is they're run by our tithe of tithe. Essentially, I would think, and then the monies that come in go directly to the missionaries on the field.
Yeah, that is helpful. And I know organizations that there is a 5% or 10%,
which makes sense. Yeah, but I'm just thankful we're not one of those.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Because that's operational cost. It does stack up for sure.
For sure. And then if I give you $100, go online, find Johnny Moore, give you $100 through World Missions, how long does it take to get to your bank account in the Philippines? Yeah,
so typically...
Dang, you got offshore bank accounts over there, dog? Look at you.
No, typically the way it works is you have your account in World Missions, it goes and it pools into that account, and then they, once a month will distribute this set amount from the money that's in your World Missions account, and it goes to. But
and sometimes that's different. Sometimes that's somebody gave a big lump sum this month. Here goes how much is in your account.
And if you have access, you can request. Hey, we have, like for instance with this building project, we've had when money comes in from time to time, we'll pull. It's separate. It's not going to my personal World Missions account. It's going to a special project, and we'll request. Hey, can you send this amount, because we've got a construction payment due at the end of the month, and they'll organize that and wire it to where it needs to go. But
nice. Do you think that somebody on a podcast and I were talking about this the other day? Do you think that one of those roles, director, assistant director, and maybe even vice versa as they go, do you think one of them needs to have missionary experience, or like there should be some sort of some sort of agenda item to where we put some sort of process in there to where they need to have spent significant time on the mission field? Yeah,
that's a tricky question. I say yes in some and no in some regards, because like for director, it's one of those. I think you need to have administrative experience. Like to to me, I don't know. I don't have any desire to be a, the world missions director, because there's just so much just stuff like minutiae, church splits that are happening. The same things that overseers deal with.
Sure.
Like you're dealing with that on a global basis.
And that person is always trying to grow the global church through some of those connections and sister churches and some of those covenant ministry type things that they're doing as well.
Yeah. And I think you need to have somebody that is a big thinker, can raise funds, understands the global footprint of the church right now, and has been in it for a while. So, and that's why you've had a history of people that have missions backgrounds in it, and you've had a history of people that are, administrators or have been in that role. But I think there needs to be some type of requirement on some level within the administrative office in that. In terms, doesn't have, like, to me, I think it's weird that this will probably be a hot button item. I don't know, but I don't think we really necessarily need to elect both of those positions.
Yeah. Elect the director, big vision guy. Let the assistant be appointed.
Yeah, I think, or somebody within that is continuity. So somebody that's within that. So if you do elect both, that's great. But maybe you have somebody that is kind of a administrator that is going to be there from with a field view in mind.
Yeah.
That is going to be there when the outgoing goes out and the next guy goes out. At least there's some continuity, and maybe that's your point person. The assistant director is over missionary care and is over, so it's sometimes that can be hard if you're not from, like, if I'm talking to you and just trying to work my way through, new to the field, I'm trying to work my way through this cultural shock that you have. And if your experience with missions is, you maybe you went on a couple trips, when you were a pastor 20 years ago on a mission trip, and then you were an administrator for a while, but you don't really have much. You took up a lot of good offerings at your church for missions. And I'm sure you have a heart for missions.
Yeah.
But if you had a state overseer over you that really had never pastored, maybe pastored for 4 years, 2 years.
Yeah. It's tough.
And then went into administration, like, your level of connection doesn't know maybe the level of battles that you've been through.
No doubt.
And the level of pain and struggle. He may have an idea. So I think there's that aspect of it.
Yeah, I was joking around with you the other day about me and Johnny Kilman were joking around about, hey, I'm going to throw my name in the hat to be the assistant if Brother Ramirez moves up. And you were like, yeah, but you have to travel and do mission work a lot. And I was like, nah, never mind. I pulled my name out. Yeah. I can't even go. I visited you one time.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't know how missionaries do it. Travel the world, and I love my family. I love home. I love my local church way too much to that lifestyle's hard, man. Not even from, like, for you, there at least is a, like, this is home, But for somebody who this is home, America's home, and they're constantly traveling and flying from country to country, man, I that is not my gifting in life. I'll stay here and raise money for you, help you.
And that would be a great thing to have in the interview process. You know what I'm saying? You can't, and you can't. We don't have that in our tribe. We don't have that in terms of, like, when these names go up for missions director and assistant director. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, that guy didn't go get elected to these positions. Let's put him in missions, or let's put him in evangelism. We're like, well, is there?
Yeah.
Do they stay wake up at night and wondering, like, God, how am I going to impact the harvest in Swaziland? It's like, not saying that guys don't, but and I've seen people that have been put in positions, and it's all of a sudden, man, they really begin to get a heart and a passion for this. I've seen field directors come in the roles, have no experience with the field or region, maybe even never visited that region before, and they're now the field director. But I have seen, God's grace giving them this, all right, hey, I'm going to give you a burden in this season for this because you're going to need it.
Do you know the field directors?
I know my field director.
Which is who?
It's Andrew Benda.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard his name. I don't know him, but I've heard his name.
I'll say this about him. I love him, but he was somebody that had was an outgoing overseer, and to his credit, man, he was just so had so much grace in that season, and he actually took me to lunch when he first got elected. I was still in Cleveland, about to head back, and it was just one of those moments of like, basically, you don't know what you don't know. Hey, I'm new to this, so. Is it okay if I shoot you email from time to time and just ask a question? And I think that is the posture.
Where does he stay? Like, where's his home base?
So he's based in Cleveland.
In Cleveland. Are all the field directors?
For the most part, some of them will live part-time in their field.
Like Brother Marcial, where is he? Is he based out of Cleveland, or is he?
That I honestly don't know, because it's not my region, so I don't know.
Okay, that's interesting.
But like with Asia, that's extremely hard because that's the biggest territory-wise region, because he's over, all of Southeast Asia, China, Australia, New Zealand, India. India's a ginormous region in of itself. I
saw one of those things on the map that they do where they're like, do you know how big India actually is? And then they put it on top of America and show how big actually India is. It's crazy.
It's the highest concentration of lost people and unchurched.
Is in India?
Is in that Asia Pacific region. Yeah. The 1040 window falls within that. So partly Africa, but the rest is throughout Asia. So yeah, it's a hard it's a hard nut to crack because, just the logistics of it. So I think, having good support administratively of people in the field.
I know everybody would love for us to talk about, like heartfelt stuff like, oh, Johnny, like what would move you to take this step? But I think the lane of podcasts that we're in, of all things Church of God, let's talk about a pastor out there who sees that their missionary is back in the States, or how can a pastor connect with his missionary or support his missionary or encourage his missionary out there from America, from, a little small town like, whatever, Socastee? How can we support our missionary? What are some things that they can do better?
So you and I stay in contact pretty regularly, whether it be text or Marco Polo, just even little things. Just like, hey, just checking in, just thinking of you today. Like those things go a long way. Yeah. Maybe if you have missionaries at your church, missionaries that your church is partnered with, as pastors, maybe you set up once a quarter, once a month, just hey, we want to jump on a Zoom or a FaceTime and just hear how you're doing, hear how things are going, check in on you, and it's a 15-minute conversation. You have to coordinate the timelines of time differences are a headache, especially where I'm at. But those, because you're on the other side of the world, man, it is sometimes it's it does, it gets lonely. It gets lonely for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And
do you feel like you're being a bother to not your friends? Obviously, you're not being a bother to me, but other churches that you're connected to, do you man, I just don't want to bother them?
Sometimes, yeah, because dude, I know how busy, how hectic life is. Yeah, for sure. And it's easy to, I don't want to feel like I'm interrupting or interfering. So that's why a lot of times, you won't, it's hard to make that initial step. Yeah. But if the pastor makes it, it's like, yeah, man, I'll go, whatever time you'd love to Zoom, I'll make it happen. Yeah. But it's one of those, I think the other things of like, churches do, and this has happened to me in the past, and it really does go a long way. I think don't realize. So missionaries, church, we have to raise our own personal budget, personal support, and then also all of like if there's projects or things going on. So all this stuff with the safe house and Sidewalk Sunday School, these things that are ministry, raising the budgets for these things. Sometimes it's hard to juggle all those things, but sometimes I've had churches that will say, hey, when they get really to the point of like, how are you paying for your insurance, or how are you saving for retirement? And I've had sometimes, churches or pastors will say, all right, we're going to support what you're doing, but you can't spend this. This goes, and those are, for me, it's always convicting because it's all right. I know. Okay. I'll do it. Yeah. And I've had those hard conversations, but it's cool because it takes the burden off of you. Mm-hmm. So, encourage pastors out there.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna look at the camera. If you do have missionaries that your church is connected to, it's like, how are they taking care of their kids? Like those that have families, medical insurance, on the field, man, we pay for all that. So it's like figuring out budget-wise, transportation, it's all that. Yeah. And then the logistics of it being on the other side of the world.
It's wild.
So yeah.
It's wild. You're a superhero, man.
Do what I can.
What's the global perspective of the General Assembly?
General what?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. I think it's really big in Latin America, which is awesome because it's a lot closer. In Asia, you'll have some of the missionaries that'll come back. You'll have a handful. It'd be awesome if they allowed digital voting, if they allowed some type of absentee or some type of, because those Church of God churches in communist countries that are can't shout from the rooftops that they're Church of God. Their voice matters, should matter just as much as that. Palmetto Point with 3,000 members, like that. The way that we are structured, bylaws, their vote should matter just as much. But it's hard to. They can't come over for all this way.
So you said there will be some that come from Asia, like those people, or you're just assuming some will come?
There'd be other missionaries, and
there's some
pastors.
Delegation.
I think there's some delegation from Indonesia that comes, and
okay.
The Indonesia church is very well represented. Amazing the work that's going on there. But yeah, like your local little church pastor in some of those regions,
they don't have a countdown on their phone for assembly?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
What are some? We'll wrap it up. What are some missionaries who are just hidden on the backside of the wilderness that you would just love to give them a shout out and tell the world how amazing they're doing?
Yeah. Isaac Lutz in Cambodia is one of the most. He's a close friend of mine. One of the most phenomenal guys that I know, leaders on the field, doing amazing work in Cambodia. He works with just the work he's done with the refugee crisis, the church planting that he does, all these farming initiatives. Dude is just a
Isaac Lutz.
Yeah, Isaac's the man. My mentors, Chuck and Sherry Quinley, like they've been in the game for 40 years on the field.
A long time, yeah.
All 6 of their children have been raised and grown up. Some of them are doing ministry now, but like they're still. Like Asia is home. Like this is where they're at. So I serve directly under him and just look up to him and the work that he's doing. And he's this guy that I don't think many people know about, but dude's got an earned doctorate. He's a writer.
Is doctorates big in foreign cultures?
Yeah, education is huge in foreign culture. Like I kind of would love to get an honorary doctorate just so I could put doctor in front of my name and put it on cards and stuff, because it would open up so many doors where we're at just from a that perspective, because education is such a huge thing. I would love to earn a doctorate.
Sure.
But Lord,
I get it.
I don't know where I'd find the time.
Right. I totally understand.
But yeah, education is, so like a lot of the work that we do. So in Southeast Asia with our partner, with Project Justice, the work that we're doing in some of these closed countries in Southeast Asia, the first thing, like when they do rescue ministry and rescuing girls out of trafficking, the first thing that we'll do is try to start getting their paperwork, because they're not recognized as citizens or not recognized as people. So it's tracking down that and then immediately getting them enrolled in school.
Because they feel value of that.
Yeah, because the moment that they can start getting into school, and it begins to open up these doors for people. So yeah, education is extremely valuable.
So the honorary doctorates are a big deal for people globally. Our tribe passes them out seemingly like chewing gum at times, but it's a big deal globally whenever they walk in a place and they say,
if you
Dr. Jamie Barfield, and everybody's like, oh, okay, that dude's...
It holds weight.
Holds
for
weight.
Sure.
Because I don't feel like it may hold as much weight in America as it used to.
Yeah.
So globally it does.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Proud of you, man.
Hey.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
You're awesome. Keep changing the world.
Yeah. See you at Assembly.
Peace out. Let's go.